While there is a full-blown battle over Delhi pollution between the LG and the Aam Aadmi Party government, a study from the Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology in Pune says that stubble burning accounts for just 1.3% of Delhi's air pollution. Now, the fires that you see on your screen have been going on in Punjab and Haryana unabated. The satellite images from NASA too show that North India is on fire. So the big question is, of course, how has IITM calculated the share of source of pollution in air? Secondly, if only 1% pollution is due to stubble, why is the peak in winter? And how can half the pollution be from unidentified sources as per this report? And question 4, 6 years on after constant winter smog, are we still in denial? And if we are in denial, and how will we solve this perennial problem that is choking and killing the people of Delhi? We discuss this with our guest. Joining us on the show is Ambassador Bhaswati Mukherjee, former diplomat, Padma Shri, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, chairman of Nephron Clinic. Also with us on the show, Mr. Dilip Cherian, image guru, joins us on the program as well. Last but by no means the least, Bijon Mishra, citizen activist, also with us on the program. Dr. Bagai, I'll begin with you. All right, well, this is startling to me. You as somebody who's, spoken extensively about this issue, explain this to me like I'm a 10-year-old. If this only contributes for about 1.3%, then why don't we get to see, the similar level of pollution in summer months, even when it's not raining? That's the first question that comes to my mind as an educated individual.
Good evening, Vineet. Good evening, everyone. I think this study has shown that all of us are 1-year-olds. And foolish and childlike and immature and naive. I don't think I would buy that. The fact of the matter is what we are seeing on ground as reality. Stubble burning is a significant contributor towards the North India plains pollution. It's the air wind flow, it's the velocity, and if anyone travels from here out of Delhi towards Punjab, you will see the fires in the farm burning. You don't need to be a nuclear scientist to understand that. We also know that there are in-house production of PM2.5, PM5, PM10, toxic gases, hydrofluorocarbons, volatile organic compounds, and a host of other very, very dangerous carcinogenic material which are emitted. It can be road dust, it can be vehicular pollution, it can be construction dust, industrial waste, open dhalals, Yamuna frothing, all these are contributing. Now, whether it's 1, 2, 5, 10, 50 is irrelevant at the present stage, because let me tell you why the impact to be understood is more important. We are losing 2 million Indians every year directly because of air pollution. It's 18% of the total mortality. That's unacceptable. Every 10% increase of PM 2.5 is giving us 2 times, that means 200% increase in cardiopulmonary deaths. We have shown in multiple studies after studies, in Lancet, in Science Direct, in New England Journal of Medicine, in all other international and Indian journals, that this is causing effects on the heart, increase in asthma by 52%, bronchitis 24%, cancers 35 to 82%, impacting the unborn fetuses as pregnancies, newborns, bone disease, obesity, insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus, liver disease, mental health, kidneys, peripheral vascular disease, allergies, infertility. The entire pollution is anti-hormonic, viral and bacterial infections. We know that we are going to see a huge burden of non-communicable diseases in the next 4 to 5 years, and I dare say even now. The parali burning can be controlled. There is no question about it. One man's convenience cannot be 100 people's death. That's not logical. These things can be prevented. This government in Delhi has been in power for 2 terms, I think now. The fact is most of the roads are half open, half dug up. The construction norms are not being obeyed. We only talk about pollution in October, November, December, January, but pollution is there in unacceptable levels all through the year. A normal PM 2.5, which goes down into the lower airways, cannot be more than 10 to 15 notches. In Delhi, it's clocking in between 150 to 200. The AQI on bad nights post Diwali will reach 900, 999, and then the figure can't be shown as a display. These things need to be attended to. I would really like that there should be a ministry of air pollution to combat air pollution. You need scientists, you need doctors, you need researchers to put together. You can't leave it only to the political top brass. We need to protect the lives of this generation and the next generation. Trees are being felled in Delhi. There's a Supreme Court order on it. Even in our colony, trees have been felled. These things must be stopped. Punitive punishment needs to be meted out. We cannot be hijacked. We cannot be held to ransom by these farmers. Enough has been done by them as damage. At least now let them not damage more human beings, when more human lives will be lost in Delhi NCR.
Absolutely. Ambassador Mukherjee, as children, we were taught that every problem has a solution. But, the longer the pollution problem continues to linger on in the capital city, everybody is of the belief that, whatever the solution is presented, there is a problem to it. And that's becoming a reality when it comes to the pollution menace in Delhi. I can go and buy replacements for an air purifier, but I can definitely not go and buy, a pair of lungs. This is obviously a matter which is not being taken very, very seriously by our netas. This is a matter which is not being taken seriously, by all those quarters which are responsible for, ensuring that life matters. Your right to life, your right to health is super fundamental, not even fundamental.
Yes, Vineet, well, I'm sorry that this very serious issue has become so politicized. I'll give a simple example. In December 22, and I have excellent lungs. I thought I had. I was suddenly, one day, I felt a bit breathless. I was x-rayed. I was told that I had atypical viral pneumonia, both lungs affected. I was in MAX for 2 weeks. And when I recovered and came home, my lung specialist told me that I was lucky I didn't have comorbidities, because for the kind of pollution-related pneumonia I had, there's only a 50% chance of survival. That's when I realized that it's an immediate problem. It's a question of your mortality. In my perspective, parali burning is also linked to the fact that we need to wean away the farmers who are growing rice in a part of India which is not suited for rice growing. In the process, they are finishing off the underground water level of Punjab. Punjab's climate has changed. Its winters have become milder. Rice is supposed to be grown in the fertile eastern part of India where I come from. But it's a very valuable cash crop, so farmers have to be educated, compensated, and encouraged to move to other crops. That would bring down parali burning without any problem at all. Parali burning did not exist when I was a kid growing up like Dilip, because farmers in Punjab were not growing rice. They were growing crops suited to Punjab's climate. So it's not a political issue. It's more a question of sustainable development. In addition, I really believe that the construction activities going on around Delhi, not inside Delhi, they are also contributing, as this study has said. I would agree with them, particularly in Ghaziabad and Noida. And the kind of heavy vehicular traffic that is coming in to Delhi, which is bringing in a lot of pollution, which is not permitted in Delhi. We have to stop all that, and we have to work together without any political biases to solve this issue, because those whose lungs are getting damaged the fastest are the kids. We were lucky we grew up in Delhi when everything was fine. And I actually personally, if you ask me, and this is very childish on my part, but I really regret that I can't even light a small little Tara Batti on Diwali, because I miss the traditional family Diwalis I used to enjoy with my family. And to be told year after year that even green crackers are not safe, and then to be told, but how much do they contribute? I'm a disciplined person, I will not burn any firecrackers. But all around me, the whole night long, where I stay in South Delhi, in Sarvodaya in place, there are firecrackers all over the place. So are we doing anything to control it? Who are burning these firecrackers? And I would also agree with Dr. Bagai that the days leading up to Diwali and later, everybody should be warned not to go out at all for a morning walk because the pollution is so high that the instruments can't calculate it. And it is foolish also for those people who think that if they sit inside the house with the doors and windows shut, they can escape. Nobody can escape, and you cannot wear a mask inside the house. Not possible. So ultimately, Vineet, we are reaching a situation where those of us who can afford it will leave Delhi. Those of us like me who live on a pension, we can't leave Delhi. So our lifespan will be shortened unless we do something about it. Maybe we need to learn also from the Chinese, because I recall that about 15 years ago, Beijing had become unlivable, and due to certain measures taken by the Chinese government, and of course they are not a democracy, so they can enforce their orders, which we can't do. I'm glad we are a democracy, but sometimes there are these, what you call, conditionalities attached to democracy. You can't order people around. But they manage their pollution very well, because I'm told that in Beijing, the pollution level is only half of that of Delhi. So maybe we need to also find out what they did. And also about this whole issue of artificial rain. Can we do it? Can we seed the clouds? I know whenever I've been to China, whenever they've wanted, they seed the clouds and the rain comes and the pollution goes away. I've seen it myself in Xinjiang province, for instance. So these are many things which scientists and doctors and social scientists or image gurus like Dilip can comment upon. I can only tell you from my personal experience that I was just 50% away from death in max, and it was the doctors in max told me it was all pollution related, but I used to always go around with a double mask, but still I got it. So that's it. We're all in danger because of this thing.
Right. And Mr. Cherian, perhaps this is not a compliment to Delhi, perhaps the only city in the world at this point in time that needs to wear a mask without the threat of COVID, and that's attributed to pollution alone. There are multiple agencies, multiple, arms of the government which have been working in tandem to get over this. It's getting difficult to pinpoint whose fault actually it is. But the fact of the matter is, like Dr. Bagai also stated, that, we are losing life terms. In fact, everybody is shortening their life term by up to 8 to 10 years in the city of Delhi. That's a big concern. That's a crime actually that is being committed. But, we don't know who's culpable.
Vineet, I think that you've partially answered the question. We said multiple agencies. Dr. Bagai hinted at a solution when he said there should be one ministry for pollution, all kinds of pollution. And it should have absolutely, as Ambassador Mukherjee alluded, almost the equivalent of draconian strength to do things to save citizens. That's one. There is no getting away from the fact that a lot of this pollution is also exacerbated in the season because you have the cold air and all of those things which are geographic things. Obviously, if a small percentage is due to parali burning, a large percentage is happening right through the year. It's just that because of the heat gradient, you are able to shove all that up into the atmosphere. But it comes right back as acid rain, as all kinds of other pollutants into all kinds of other, into the sea and thereafter back into the land. So let's not minimize the problem. Let's understand that this is not just a seasonal problem. It is a seasonal issue for all of us to discuss it, but it needs tackling by one central authority. It needs harsh measures, and it needs, the kind of self-discipline that Ambassador Mukherjee was talking about. If you can't exercise your self-discipline at the time of a wedding or at the time of a festival, then how do you expect farmers to exercise discipline on what they are supposed to do right through the year? Meaning, it's their life that they are talking about in terms of the crops. Of course, changing the cropping pattern needs to be part of the mandate of the pollution ministry, not the agriculture ministry. So I think that the solutions are looking us in the face. The answers are fairly obvious. I don't think that there is anything so complex that it needs to be explained to anyone in government. It needs to be done. I've said this before, we need the kind of direct action by citizens to make this happen. You can't have an entire city flee, 500 miles away because there's pollution. You're destroying the city. Meaning the fate of the number of capitals of various empires which have floundered in Delhi is a very long list. But we don't want to fall into that list merely because we are not listening to the sound of nature. And the fury of nature will ensure that this happens if we don't pay attention. Meaning, this is no way to handle this. What we are doing at the moment is childish, passing the buck from one government to the other, from one department to the other, and that simply is not giving us any results at all.
Bijon, if I suffer a loss at the hands of a scammer, say for 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees, I can go to a cell, I can go to an agency and complain, and whether there is any resolution or not, at least there'll be an inquiry, there'll be a report, and there will be a formal investigation. But when it comes to my health, right, which is priceless, there is no avenue, there is no recourse at this point in time which I can seek, and that is the biggest apathy that worries me. And the younger generations who perhaps have not seen northern India without this menace of pollution.
Yeah, Vineet, I listened very carefully, all my panel members. I go back to the report which we are discussing about. The Pune report of IITM, which talks about 30 to 44% unidentified. Now, I don't understand what kind of a scientist or science is this, that you get away saying, I don't know the pollutants, but I know there is pollution. I mean, how do you make systems accountable? My contention is that as a citizen, this is not happening for the first time in Delhi. Year after year, this is a phenomenon which has become common in Delhi, and then the scientists get away saying that 32 to 44% is unidentified. We are not able to identify. Now, come on. Let's not abuse science here. We can bring evidences. We can actually come to the tangible kind of a manner in which we'll be able to figure out what are the root causes. We all know the root causes. The scientists have informed us in percentage wise where it is and what it is. But due to political reasons, which is the biggest pollutant in our country, today we are getting away saying 32 to 44% is unidentified. Now, this is where, as a citizen, we come in that what is this whole process is all about. The Ministry of Environment is directly involved in these issues. Right from the minister to the secretary to all the bureaucracy, all the staff who is working in that ministry are accountable to this. I do not understand why do we need to have another ministry now. We already have a ministry. We are spending public money to manage that ministry. Where is the question of good governance? Let's now ask, where is the good governance? Where the buck will stop? Whose head will roll? Because you have been sleeping over it for the last many years. And then you get away saying, I don't know what is the reason. 30 to 44%, I don't know what is the reason. The scientists definitely knows. They don't want to talk about it because they have been told to keep quiet. The point is, again, I tell you, these reports have to be neutral, unbiased, credible, brought by independent scientists who are not influenced by the government. They don't get paid by the government. They get paid by the public money, but in a neutral manner, in an insulated manner, so that they can give a very credible report. That report never comes to the table. I have been party to many kind of committees and experts group in the government, and I have seen many reports which we have churned out, which are credible. They lie in the cupboard catching dust. They never get implemented. So my contention is that are we serious? Is the governance serious? Is the Lieutenant Governor taking action into all these matters where we all know that the present government has failed to deliver? If they have failed to deliver, then the President of India, as per Constitution, has the right to intervene. We as citizens can't keep going to the judiciary and file a PIL on such issues. How many times we will go before the judiciary? The judiciary tells us on our face that please wake up the executive. Why you are all the time coming to us? And then we tell them that being law-abiding citizens, we have no other option left to us because nobody is listening. Nobody is working towards us. We just chat over a TV show. We give all these policy, kind of interventions, and then nobody listens. Nobody takes cognizance to this TV show which we are having today.
We've had these TV shows every year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And we've all run out of time. Dr. Bagai, out of interest, I want to understand from you. Doctors can face prosecution as well as persecution if a patient's health is jeopardized. But what about these 2 crore patients in Delhi, who are perhaps looking at a lot of problems with their health? Who's going to take the fall for that?
Yeah, so if you look at it now in a constructive manner going forward, in 10 years we have not sorted out Delhi's good public transport system. Shame. If we as individuals go to London or New York or to Paris, we use public transport because it's clean, it's efficient, it's time-bound, it's excellent to use. Why can't we have that here? There are different agencies who keep digging up the same road at different times of the year, and that area remains dust full throughout the year. If you look at the relaying of the roads, it's only the center part of 40%, the remaining 30% on either side is left open. There are people who are felling trees. The Supreme Court has come down in today's Times of India report very heavily. This should be a non-bailable offense. You cut a tree, you go to jail. It's as simple as that. There are different schemes which can be done to combat, to preserve the green cover, to prevent the construction dust. Not a single site in Delhi is maintaining and adhering to the construction norms. If your neighbor is constructing a house, it's 100 on 100, some person in your house in the next 2 years is going to be wheezing heavily. Why are we allowing this to happen? This is completely ridiculous. It is so bizarre. We know the problem. We can find a solution, but we don't want to do it. Then if we don't want to do it, then we die early.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.